it's the 7th or the 8th maybe of April 2026, and I'm down here at Lady Macquarie's, or Mrs. Macquarie's chair, sorry, there's a press conference going to be on down here about the flotilla, the Sumud Flotilla, that is leaving from either Italy or France and travelling over to try to break the siege of Gaza. And they're going to have it up here at the top. There's a few there already. We're about 20 minutes early for a change. They have extra time to get here. But yeah, it's a beautiful day in Sydney. Lovely outlooks. Just tourists as far as the eye can see, getting the one, the famous photo right here. Quite interesting as well, walking along. I'll do it on the way back, but I should have done it before. They have the full setup Phantom of the Opera stage just around the corner here, where they have the cinema. Pardon me. Spreading COVID to all these unsuspecting tourists. All right, so we'll see how this thing goes, and then we will try that on the way back. Getting their shots. Anyway, giving a wave. You got so it says on there that, and then that's the group. I know this guy in the hat. He's a SBS sort of protector. Sorry, walk up a small hill and out of puff. All of these people here, I generally do speak quite a lot. I think this guy's a newspaper reporter, but it's supposed to be a press conference, a presser. Here's the other guy coming down, Ethan, the Aboriginal guy. He's going to be going in the middle of the screen there with his hands in pockets, wiping his side of his jacket now. Yeah, great location. I mean, they were going to do it at the airport, and apparently they couldn't get permission, so now it's here instead. But you're going to have your tourists. The tourists are going to want to have their photos done in the interim, and I think they're going to use that little bit there. And probably the best spot is set up is probably just up here, because you're going to get a smashing view. There's no, I don't think they've. Yeah, that's the shot. That's the shot right there, I reckon. Might be a little dark on their faces, but we'll cope with that. But look at that, hey? How's that for a background? Way better than bloody Sydney Airport. There's another camera crew just arriving. A lady came down and had a look. I thought she's the Sky News lady, but not quite sure. And there's a lady in front of them who's obviously going to be here if it's part of it. And the camera crew, I thought it was, I think it isn't Sky News, I don't know, we'll find out later. And then Sue Higginson arrived as well, so she's over there hugging it up with the people. So she's one of the keynote speakers, and the Sheikh there in the middle with the blue hat talking to her now, and Ethan Floyd, blue speaking, and the other guy from Rising Tide, whose name escapes. He's talking. They're in a little huddle right now with Sue. But it's all going to be happening in a minute. We will hold and see. Oh, the camera lady, she's TVU. He's got on his back, but who the hell he is, I don't know. It seems to be the lady organising in the blue there, so she's chatting with her. It's not Sky. I don't think it's Sky. All right, there's more. And there you go. Here he is, David Shoebridge arriving now, getting a cheer. A few people, and a little bit more media now. You've got two sort of mainstream media cameras. There's one's a photographer for the press of some sort. Got a guy with his press badge on. So slightly more. The woman is, I'm not sure where she's from again, but it's the tiniest little camera in the world right here. There's all these. I do so many of these pre-rants while we're waiting around because I get kind of a bit bored and waiting. But yeah, there's a good contingent of speakers now, or a larger contingent. I'm assuming David Shoebridge will be speaking. He wasn't on the list. I'll post that up as part of it all, the spiel about it. Let's see how it goes. Alright, so it's about to kick off now. They're just getting themselves in order. We've got all the speakers at the front there having working out what they're going to say. Then you've got the tourists in the background, getting some shots, and the media, smallish media scrum here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So, and like I said, David Shoebridge maybe he's a late entry, maybe with Sue Higginson standing alongside him. They're both talking to the Rising Tide fellow, whose name escapes me right now. He'll introduce himself. Speak as well, because I can't hear as well.
Yeah, please. Nodding heads are great. Anyone need another moment, or are we good?
I need one more second.
All right.
Sheikh
No.
Charkawi's got a microphone.
Just that.
Oh, okay, I don't think we did. Alrighty, folks. Thanks so much for being here this morning. My name's Zack Schofield, that's Schofield. I'm one of 16 current Australian participants in the Global Sumud Flotilla. With me is Floyd and Jayden Kitchener-Waters. The three of us are leaving from Sydney Airport tomorrow to fly to Italy. We'll be leaving from the Italian port around April 20th. And we're going to give you a couple of short statements on why we're going. Then after the three of us, you'll hear from Michelle Berkon from Jews Against the Occupation 48, Sheikh Wesam Charkawi from Sydney Imam. Then we're going to hear from Clementine Ford, a feminist writer who will be doing a walk, I believe from Melbourne to Canberra across the course of our trip. And then finally, David Shoebridge. Senator David Shoebridge, to say a couple of words about the political situation in the Middle East. I want to live in an Australia where we lock up war criminals and murderers, not an Australia that allies with war criminals and murderers. One of the first stories that I heard about what it means to be Australian when I was growing up was the story of John Simpson, who on the beaches of Gallipoli, instead of picking up a gun, carried a donkey and carried the wounded back to shore for the short weeks he had left on this earth. I feel compelled, because Australia is sponsoring Israel's genocide in Gaza, political support and weapons parts, to go over and do my bit to choose new mates and support Palestinian civilians on the ground, rather than let Australia continue to be complicit in this genocide. Over to Ethan.
Hi folks, my name's Ethan Floyd, FLOYD, the band. I'm going on the Global Sumud Flotilla because students have always been at the front lines of social movements the world over, from the freedom rides here in Australia, to the mobilisation to end the war in Vietnam, to boycotts against South African apartheid, and protests against the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan. Students have always been ready and willing to step up and speak out. And myself, I'm a student at the University of Sydney and a member of Students for Palestine. I think what's important about this flotilla is that it is a visible, public, physical action to break Israel's illegal naval blockade of Gaza, which continues to deny Palestinians much needed aid to which they are entitled under international law. But of course we must remember that this does not begin nor does it end with Israel's illegal blockade of Gaza, and that while we are away on the flotilla, there is a vital role for people that are to play in continuing to pressure our government to take steps such as extending the Israeli policy and backing that up with sanctions, political and economic, on the state of Israel. And also pressuring our institutions, our universities, to cut ties with the weapons companies and warmongers which use students' money and students' research in the commission of war crimes around the world. And Zack is exactly right, that if we can arrest Ben Roberts-Smith for committing war crimes, we should apply that same standard to the state of Israel. Thank you.
Ngiyampaa and Jayden Kitchener-Waters, Gomeroi and Ngiyampaa, Wiradjuri, I'll be jumping on this flotilla for a few reasons. But one of the main reasons is I think about them babies over there. Those babies that are dying of hypothermia, babies that are dying of hunger, babies that don't have their basic needs met. Not at the fault of their own, but at the fault of Israel, who does not let aid come in there, who does not protect these babies, and and who actively kills and bombs these babies. In Aboriginal culture, we believe that all children, all babies are sacred. We believe that we have a responsibility to look after them babies, take care of those babies. That is a simple reason, but a strong reason, why I'm jumping on the flotilla and going to Gaza.
One of our members, Berkon, sailed on the flotilla, and we're very proud to have her represent us. And firstly, for humanitarian reasons that everybody here has outlined. Secondly, because Australia really needs to be showing its face as standing up to the war criminal state of Israel, the genocidal state of Israel. And thirdly, because in the absence of the moral compass shown by people like Sheikh Wesam Charkawi, we don't have a rabbi who will come and say that Zionism is not Judaism, anti-Zionism is not anti-Semitism, and the state of Israel is a colonial project which has always been vile and vicious from its very inception. So we are here to say that Jews have a rightful place and an honourable place in breaking the siege of Gaza.
Wesam Charkawi here. I would just want to acknowledge the traditional owners of this land, acknowledge First Nations people, past, present, and emerging. I want to acknowledge everyone here of origin. And there are two today that we are seeing on this flotilla in Jayden Kitchener-Waters and Ethan Floyd. This flotilla is actually something special, and all of them have been special. They've been special because they refuse to normalise genocide. They refuse to normalise injustice. They refuse to normalise oppression. And so this is why it is so important that these brave men and women who are getting on board these ships, travelling with the intention of undoing and breaking the blockade, is so significant. And this is what we are witnessing today. We are witnessing governments worldwide. We are witnessing our own federal government in not only supporting but also endorsing what we are seeing, which is not a natural catastrophe. This is not something that happened in a natural disaster. This is something that has been done systematically by government. And when Australia invited Isaac Herzog to this country to normalise the relations with Israel, the message that they sent to the world, the message that they sent to people, the message that they sent about the system was effectively one that would see civilians, extraordinary people, rise up and say, we are not going to accept this. And Isaac Herzog, who was found to be inciting genocide, would be invited to this country, is something that will forever be a mar on this government. The question then becomes, what do people do? What do people do when the international law, which is meant to restrict the hand of oppression, which is meant to restrict the hand of injustice, has failed? So what do people do? And so they are not merely taking aid on board with them, but they are carrying a symbol, and it's a symbol of hope. And it's one, and I'll just give you an example, speaking to some of the members here today previously. We have a member going on board who I asked the question and said, why are you going on board? And he said, I want to send a message from the children of this country to the children of Gaza. And so he's been traveling around this country collecting notes from people who are writing letters to the children of Gaza. Some of them are sealed, and some of them are only meant for the children of Gaza. This is heartbreaking. This is heartbreaking when civilians have to stand up because our governments have refused to hold those accountable when they should be. So I commend every one of you for going on this mission. And you've definitely answered the question and say, we refuse to normalise genocide, we refuse to normalise oppression, and we refuse to normalise injustice. And the symbol that this carries is that the human spirit will never be broken. the human spirit to do good will always be immovable in the face of injustice, and that's what this flotilla carries. I wish you well. You know the risks. There are grave risks involved. Risks to life, risk to personal injury, and as we saw on the previous Freedom Flotilla, there was abuse, there was difficulties and challenges they faced, that some of them were bombed, and so the risks and the grave risks are known by every single member that gets on board these ships. So I wish you well, but you've answered that question in terms of what we can do and what you can do. We have to answer in our own way, but they've definitely answered this question. I wish you well, and God be with you all. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, my name is Clementine Ford. You may have heard me described as a controversial writer, which I've always found very funny because I don't think that there should ever be anything controversial about fighting for human rights. And in the case of Gaza, Israel, which I believe is a terrorist regime, supported and collaborated with by our own government and by the Western global entity. Israel has factually created the world's largest population of child amputees. And that is in addition to the tens of thousands, officially, children that Israel has killed, children that Israel has orphaned, children that Israel has also given Gaza the very dubious statistical honour of being able to say that over 90% of its young people suffer from PTSD and have no hope for the future, that they are in fact suicidal most of the time. That is a disgrace. And as a mom, I signed up to join the flotilla because, as I've always said to my son, if we were being bombed, if we were being targeted, if we were being ignored and made the collateral damage of a colonial state that is seeking to expand its territory and supported by Western entities that are seeking purely to control the resources of that territory, then I would want people to stand up for us. I've had to make the very, very difficult decision not to join this particular voyage with the flotilla, and that is purely because the US and Israel instigated fuel crisis that has now been introduced to Australia, and I understand that people are very worried that a lot of ordinary Australians may not feel that they have time or space in their mental energy or in their physical reality to worry about what is happening half the world away. Well, let me tell you, it's all connected. Everything that you are experiencing now is because colonial entities like Australia, certainly like the US, and absolutely Israel, are making it so we are all the collateral damage of their expansionism and their greed. Unfortunately, as a single mother of a 9-year-old, I can't risk being grounded overseas and unable to return home. But my message to the flotilla and the participants is that I remain constantly in awe of your bravery, that I will join you one day, and that I'm pivoting to do something that I think will be just as effective, if different, that will take the message of the flotilla and certainly the message of safety and the necessity to keep all eyes on the flotilla from my hometown of Naarm, Melbourne, on a long walk through to Canberra. It is a political walk that will take me through the regional corridor. I will endeavour as best I can to speak to MPs on the way, but mostly I will try and speak to regional communities because in my experience through my work that regional communities are far more engaged with global issues and far more committed to humanitarian care than many people give credit for. And I want people to understand that even if you can't board a boat, even if certain things feel beyond you, even if you are physically limited or logistically limited, as I have become in this instance, there is always something that you can do. There is always a marker that you can put in the ground that says, I stood up against this. Because centuries from now, millennia from now, if humans remain standing, they will study this moment as we study moments in history, and we ask, what were the people doing? And it is vital that every one of us, in whatever way we can, forms a barrier and a wall and a devotion to humanity to show that there is always something that the people can do. They want us to feel hopeless. They want us to feel like nothing we do can change anything. And you know what? Maybe that's true in this immediate moment. But change has never happened overnight. It's a long, committed process. And we stand here, as the saying goes, on the shoulders of giants and heroes, but most importantly of ordinary people who throughout history committed themselves to being an obstacle to injustice in whatever way they can. Sumud, as I understand it in Arabic, translates to steadfast. And the Sumud Flotilla has been going for over 15 years now, 20 years maybe. And it will continue sailing against injustice. But that steadfastness is something we can all share. We are all humans, first and foremost. We have to be united in the shared common. James Baldwin said, children everywhere belong to us, each and every single one of us. Those who fail to understand that have something wrong. Paraphrasing, but you get the idea. There's nothing that a child has ever done, could ever do, that could possibly justify what Israel consistently has been doing to children in Gaza and to people in Gaza since well before October 7th. The last thing I'll say is that I am the granddaughter of a Holocaust survivor, and I've carried that trauma in me my whole life, as every survivor of trauma, whether the Holocaust or whether Indigenous massacres, the colonial foundation of this country. Everyone who has that in their blood carries the memory of what it means to be ignored, discarded, and seen as collateral damage. And I am motivated by the memory of my grandmother to be a part of something that, again, may not be successful overnight, but that requires the steadfastness and the commitment of humans everywhere to keep going regardless. These sailors will bravely board a boat, but you can all metaphorically join them in whatever way you can, and together collectively we will point the prow of that ship towards justice and humanity, and we can say that we were a part of it all.
Right now there are 2.5 million Palestinians in Gaza, shivering in tents, grieving the death of their loved ones, the destruction of their community. Many starving, in desperate need of medical aid, and they're asking, where is the hope? And the hope lies in ordinary people across this planet, joining together to break the siege and to deliver that hope. I want to give my commendation, my admiration to these 3 Australians who have said they will be part of delivering that hope to Palestine, and by doing that, deliver hope to millions of us around the world that the planet can be better than this. There is an obscene, ongoing genocide happening in Gaza. It didn't happen from a natural disaster. It happened because of the conscious decision of the Israeli state, supported by the United States and countries like Australia, and it hasn't stopped. So when we ask what we can do in a moment like this, these 3 Australians have decided what they will do is put themselves on the line. Put themselves on the line and face potential severe recriminations, violence, abuse, imprisonment from the Israeli authorities to bring that message of hope to Palestine. And I admire them and I respect them, and millions of Australians do, because they see the courage of these 3 Australians and they compare it to the silence and complicity of our government. And that is the starkest contrast you can imagine. And whilst those 2.5 million Palestinians are living in those genocidal conditions in Gaza, Israel has chosen this war that they started with the United States to expand their violence in the region. Unleash another illegal war, this time on Iran. But we should also remember what's happening in southern Lebanon at this moment. Israel has expressed their intent to create a new Gaza in southern Lebanon, to engage in the removal of populations, the illegal occupation, and the infliction of incredible violence, the destruction of communities and villages that have stood for hundreds and thousands of years. What has our government done? Nothing. Zero. The world has changed. Surely our government can see that the world has changed. It's time we stopped pretending the world is as Anthony Albanese and Penny Wong wanted to be, with the United States and its allies as some kind of stabilising partner. It's time to realise the United States and its partners in Israel are forces of chaos and violence in this world. Right now, many of us are breathing a sigh of relief that there is a temporary ceasefire in the US and Israel's illegal war on Iran. And I join with millions of Australians, billions around the world, celebrating the ceasefire. But this violence didn't start through a natural disaster. This violence started through another intentional war of choice by the United States and its partner Israel. That's what shut the Strait of Hormuz. That's what drove the world into chaos. If Australia doesn't at this moment recognise we need to chart a different path, to end our cooperation with the United States military, close Pine Gap, close US bases, remove the hundreds of Australians embedded in the United States military, and end AUKUS, then what will it take? Millions of Australians want our country to have a genuinely independent defence and foreign policy, to map a pathway that makes us secure and lives up to our principles. If only our government had the principles of these three Australians: to fight injustice, to speak out against genocide, and put themselves on the line for a world that can be so much better than the one we have today. A world where the hungry are fed, where the powerful are held to account, and where we have peace.
Zack? I'm Sue Higginson, Green CPD. This Global Sumud Flotilla will be the largest civilian effort yet. This is our humanity on the world stage for all to see. We stand here today with these three people who are joining this flotilla, and we must together stand by, watch, have safe eyes, but really importantly, demand our government ensure the safe passage and do whatever they can do to make sure that our friends who have stood up to join this incredible global humanitarian effort and ensure their safety, they will be the ones abiding by humanitarian law and principles. They will be the ones abiding by international law. Folks, this is what people power looks like. This is what humanitarian action looks like. And this is what it looks like when we all abide by the politics of love, hope, and put justice in action. And today we stand with these folks, and we will be bidding them farewell tomorrow and the best of success and love on their global flotilla mission.
Yeah, are you scared?
Am I scared? I'm more scared of a world in which people believe this is a lost cause, believe that humanity is a lost cause. If, as David said, the red line is not genocide for us as Australians, then how can we ever expect to live in a world that is safe or humane or puts ordinary people's lives before the interests of the US or Israel? As the hours come closer to leaving from Australia, I become more scared, and I'll have time to be scared later. But that's never been a reason not to do the right thing. And I hope that our politicians see that as well.
I might just say this on the question very quickly, which is that while our experience, what we can hope to expect in Israeli detention is well documented from previous flotillas, we have to make the point that what we go through, what we may see, what we may experience, it is a parallel experience, but it is, as has been said, the five-star version of what Palestinians in Gaza and in the West Bank experience every day under Israeli occupation. The place where we are likely to be transported is to deliver aid to the people of Gaza who need it, to draw the eyes of the world back to the people of Gaza who continue to suffer a genocide at the hands of Israel, and to ensure that people back home know they have a role to play and they have real power in holding our government to account while we sail across the Mediterranean to hold Israel to account.
What do you know how large this festival is and what aid is on these vessels?
The intention for this flotilla is to have 100 vessels with thousands of international participants. I'm very encouraged to be able to say that the Greenpeace flagship vessel, the Arctic Sunrise, has just confirmed that they'll be joining us all the way up until the orange line of the Israeli blockade outside Gaza. The aid that we'll be carrying on board is a combination of food, medicine, skilled medical practitioners, legal observers, I believe construction workers as well, to help create the conditions for life in Gaza as opposed to the genocide that's currently being operated there.
If you mentioned, what happens has been well documented for people who are on board this flotilla. What have you learned or what are you doing differently from previous journeys?
What are we doing differently from previous journeys? It's bigger. It's bigger. The human spirit will not be defeated, and that's what I take solace in. There will always be people who fight and fight. What else do we have? It's going to be bigger, that's what's.
Are you confident that you'll be able to make it to Gaza?
We believe that we've got the best chance yet of any flotilla that's ever attempted to reach Gazan shores because of our size and scale. While Israel's illegal war on Iran has made the region more unstable, now is the best time to put the case for humanity forward as the world is waking up to the horrors that Israel is unleashing.
And so have you done anything to prepare for this journey as in security training, that sort of thing?
Yes, we've undergone legal training from Australian lawyers. We have a legal team in Israel and will continue to receive training about the operation of our boats and about how to engage with the Israeli Navy as we may be intercepted.
How long do you expect this journey to take and do you know where you will be arriving, where you will dock?
We anticipate leaving from our Italian port on or around April 20th. We anticipate about 2 weeks, certainly no less than 2 weeks of sailing time to reaching the orange zone at the edge of the illegal Israeli blockade. Thanks, everyone.
To be non-violent is to be human. I think non-violence is the greatest tool that we have to beat the US and Israeli regime of violence. When we are walking with this feeling of love, peace, calm that Sue was speaking about earlier, then we're walking the right path. So
Non-violence is this movement's superpower. It always has been. We are a movement built on the power of people, non-violence, and collective hope and action. That is what the politics of love, hope, and justice in action looks like. And today, it's on full display, and the flotilla will display that at a degree and scope and scale that has never been displayed before.
I just wanted to say something quickly, please, and that's just in terms of violence and language. Obviously, language is my tool of trade, it's what I work in. It is always on the people to express how they respond to violence, whether they, what methods they do so. But I would love everyone to understand that what is done to us as a people is an inherent dark act of violence. To be asked to ignore suffering, to be asked to ignore genocide, to be asked to ignore that in the last 2 weeks, Israel and the Knesset in Israel, the Israeli government, has passed legislation that allows Israel to execute Palestinian prisoners, to distinguish between Palestinians and Israelis, and to charge them. Before you even go into the Israeli prison system, charge indefinitely children. Israel is the only country that tries children in military court, and children will be subject to these execution laws. That is a violence that is done to us all. We ask not only to ignore that, but to accept it as justified. So when you think about non-violence, however you frame that in your mind, I ask people to think about standing against the violence that is done every time global entities, oppressive systems, ask us to desecrate and degrade our own humanity. Thank you.
All right, thanks so much, folks. I think we're done. If you want to catch any other people individually, please feel free.
Can we just grab a photo? Can I grab a photo?
All right, so that's the end of the press conference as such. They're going to do a little photo op now. So they will gather. I'm assuming the group of them. I'll just jump in on that and start a new video. Okay, so now they're just trying to organise themselves into a group for a photo.
Step back. Can someone this presentation?
We've got our backs on.
There's a presentation going on. Oh, they're good. Oops, missed that. Whatever happened, missed it.
I know, but I've had those moments of just going, actually, if I wasn't doing the thing I'm doing, I honestly believe this is actually, I'm sorry. And I think there are so many people who have this sort of thing.
Tapestry of
Yeah. But you are, actually, I look at you right now, and this is admirable, and it's so grateful.
Can we get everybody to look this way for a minute?
Okay, and one cheesy one where everyone's looking straight at the camera.
Why don't we all look sort of in the middle there?
Yeah.
The same smile. And on the count of three, we say freedom. Can you count us in the button?
Yep. 1, 2, 3.
Freedom!
Yeah, perfect.
Are many of your congregants Palestinian? Sheikh Charkawi. Are many of your congregants Palestinian? And you're Tony
please direct
Burke's
us.
backyard, right?
It was wonderful seeing
I saw the job.
All right, she kept on. So that is, I think it. So that she must be, I think she must be 10 or SBS, one or the other. There's only 10 or SBS here. And these are the guys that are going, so we better get done with.
Yes, mate.
Whatever. We'll look here first, guys.
I want you talking to each other, see guys? Talking to each other, yeah. Excellent, done. Thank you so much, gentlemen.
So they will.
Yeah, I think we're going to do just a quick photo.
So they're the three. Now we're going to have individuals as well.
This is part of it.
I need a stick.
It works well. Right above everything. Plus the height on top.
Last week, attempting to meet to give her information about our plans and motivations. She declined the request of the meeting that was made the week previously, but she did put us in touch with officials from DFATS.
Tourists are now moving in. He's getting an interview to this fellow, and that's kind of it, I think. Just a little bit of chatting and you know, talking between them, and a few interviews, individual interviews with people, which is that's not my cup of tea. So for me, it is done and dusted. I'm going to walk down and have a look at the Phantom of the Opera set. One last little image from here of everyone gathered into the sun, and we're off. It's a group of tourists are down here chillaxing and getting their photos done. Still got their COVID masks on. A few more tourists up the top trying to enjoy it. Helicopters buzzing and being annoying on top of it all. So this is that's everyone just getting their last few little interviews and their chit chat done. So we'll head off ourselves. So this is Mrs. Macquarie's chair, I always call it lady, but it's Mrs. Macquarie's chair, I believe. So, ducks struck up down the old sandstone steps. She'll get there, and we'll head around. Like I said, we'll head around and see the. Just keep sneaking in front of her. They are wonky old. They are the wonky old steps. There's no two ways about that. But then what it actually is it's part of the cinema by the sea. So we're gonna have a bit of a rant after this one, just irrelevant rant. That's the whole city skyline. Everyone wants that shot. That's the kind of that's the money. You got right there, right? The money. That's the money shot. That one. It's absolute money shot. Got it jogging. But as I was going to say, this is where this fence is coming up. That's generally what they call. They have a cinema in the harbour, or cinema by the city, or I don't know what they call it, but the cinema thing. I got dragged along. My friend got tickets, and I said, I don't want to do that. What am I going to? I whinged and whined and carried on. And in the end, I went, and it was actually really, really good, because you just sit there. When you get there, you get in early, and you can have a coffee or a tea or a dinner or whatever. I had a beer, and you sit in this enclosed area. We got a beautiful. The tables were a bit different back then. We got a nice little table, and you just sit there in your table, and that's the view. You can't really complain. It was kind of the middle of summer. It was a beautiful day. Everyone's gathered here under the trees for this little time. So I think they obviously don't mind the general public using it. It's probably par for the course that they have to do it. Oh, there was all seating in here too before, so that's all gone. So there was heaps of seating in here. Now it looks like I'll stick the stick over the fence. I think they need a lot more logistics, because normally it's just a screen. But look at this thing they got here now. This is giant staircase. There's a big round staircase going up to the top, and then you've got a whole bunch of you've got all these cranes that run the whole thing. So they have lost area due to the logistics kind of thing. They've got to get everything in and out, and this big everything's different pretty much. There's a lot more to it now. That must be the special, like up the top there of that purple building, the red drapery and some tables and chairs, maybe a special area for the VIPs. It's a pretty shit area. You don't get a good view. You get a great view of the city skyline. But we're up to 7 minutes. All right, we'll keep this under 10. We should be there in time. Oh yeah, and look at this. You sit there, having a latte or a Chardonnay or a beer, and you're just enjoying it. He's getting the shot, and then the stage that you'll see on the left. Is that done open? We might go for a wee. I don't think it is. On the left here is I'm sort of locked. No entry. Authorised. They have to be authorised to have a piss in there. So this is the whole stage here, and then this is the seating area. So the seating it's very limited. Oh, it's about the same, I guess. Oh no, there's more up there. That's the cheap seats in the corner where you can't see anything. And then down the gut, there's all the uniforms out having an airing. Keep off, keep out. Don't go here, don't go there. Usual. I was so tempted to walk up the steps before, because it's kind of half open. The lady was busy having a chit chat, and I probably could have got away with it. We'll step up. We'll step up on one step. How's that? Where is she? Is she? But anyway, that's the. Oh yeah, she's gone. Oh. Yeah, no entry, authorised personnel only. Oh, look, we'll be good. There's a piano, and then this the big staircase goes up to this big thing. And then there's kind of balconies as well, separate balconies to the side and to the edge, and maybe a little hole at the top. So if anyone knows what the Phantom of the Opera is like, but just the scope of it is very large. Any missed step and you're in the drink here. But yeah, it's quite the feat getting it done. Maybe they do it every year and I just haven't paid attention. I reckon the tickets would cost a few bucks. There you go. So that's it. That's the Phantom of the Opera. Speaking of the opera, there's the opera house in the background of the Phantom of the Opera. Not even allowed down here. You're not allowed anywhere. I guess you're not because it's dangerous. So that's it. All right, I'm out of here. That's done. There's 3 of those people are off on the flotilla, leaving tomorrow, joining others, and we shall see how that all pans out for them. I think there would be a lot of the, you know, now that the ceasefire was announced for 2 weeks last night or early this morning, I think they would be rather less nervous about going, because I think it would have been a bit more dodgy doing it during the, you know, with everything else going on. But it is what it is. Oh, this might be a little, I think this is a sketch a photo kind of thing here. Yeah, you hook it in with you hook it up with those 2 items in the background. All right, hasta la vista, baby.